athletes not paying attention can spell big trouble for the entire team. So joining us to talk more about that and keeping kids focused while they're playing sports is our sports doc, Dr. Stankovich. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you.
So let's talk a little bit about what happens when an athlete is not challenged.
Well, with youth sports, it can be a place where kids can get injured, and so, not being focused, not being challenged, not keeping your head in the game has been shown in some research studies to leave kids more at risk for the possibility of an injury occurring. And it makes sense if you think about it. If you're generally not interested, if you're bored, your focus gets real wide, and particularly in youth sports and physical contact sports, you leave yourself very open for what might be an ordinary hit, but your body doesn't absorb it in quite the same way, and consequently an injury can occur.
Right, so if they're picking daisies out in the outfield, they got to be ready for that ball to come.
Exactly
You can really
right.
get seriously injured out there.
Yeah, and it's especially true in sports where there is a lot of contact, soccer, basketball, football, sports like that. Unfortunately, we see injuries occur more often, in my opinion, because of a child not being ready, and less to do with faulty equipment or anything like that. In fact, the equipment the kids are using today is very good and has been improved dramatically over the last 10, 20 years.
Absolutely, I'm sure it has. So what's a good way for parents to keep them focused?
Well, one of the things that I always talk to families about is, having conversations around what's upcoming. So if you're on that drive to the practice or the game, to talk about it and get your child, excited about being there, maybe even set some mini goals for the day. That would be a good start.
So what point does a parent say, okay, we're pushing them, we're trying to keep them focused, but maybe that just isn't their thing. Maybe this is just, maybe we let them go a new path.
Yeah, that's a great question, and that's a question that many families struggle with, trying to get their child set up in the right sport, the sport that he or she's interested in and will be motivated and less likely to be bored and consequently less likely to be injured. My best advice is if you see an ongoing pattern, if it goes on for games or weeks or even an entire season where your child just does not appear that interested, then that's a pretty good sign that maybe he or she's in the wrong sport. However, if it is only a day or two or a game or two, it might just be a bad week your child's having, and I wouldn't read too much into that.
Definitely. We all have bad weeks.
We do.
Our motivation isn't where it should be, and it's kind of a fine line, I think, for a lot of parents to find the difference between pushing them to stay within a sport and maybe letting them do something different.
It is a fine line, but I think parents, when they're paying attention, these signs become pretty obvious, and nobody knows their child better than a parent, so just pay attention, really.
All right. Some great tips. Thanks for being here again. This is our sport doc, Dr. Stankovich. Thanks again. And if you'd like some more information, just go to our website. It's onntv.com.